1. It was still early in the evening, but felt later than it should. Rainy days have that effect on me. My section was nearly full, with a single, humble foretop polished and ready to be seated. Everything was running smoothly, and I was enjoying myself as I settled in for a busy Saturday night. That foretop was quickly seated and greeted. I smiled at the middle-aged duo in front of me and began a standard beverage pitch. The man pointed to my fancy new server book that I was super excited about. It's the small things, right? That's a nice server book. I smile, genuinely. Thanks, I ordered a few of these ones last week, but this color is my favorite. You shouldn't say, these ones. A smug smile rested while beady blue eyes appeared from an orange and freckled face, his hairline creeping past the coronal, with a wiry grey rat tail whispering in the draft of a dusty vent. Why not? I peered over my mask with unplucked eyebrows scrunched in feigned confusion. I didn't like his condescending tone. It's not proper English, and I've been teaching English for 30 years now. He confidently shifted his gaze to the woman seated across from him, then back to me. I honestly wasn't sure if she was his wife or his mother, but they weren't unfamiliar. Oh, cool. I love teachers. My dad taught college-level courses for a few semesters, and his bachelor's is in English. I smiled, happy to find something positive to converse over. What I find so interesting about language is that it is a living technology, in that it evolves over time and within groups. We bantered on for a few moments, and to be honest, I don't remember exactly what I said to peeve him, but it was less blatant than a bless your heart delivered with a slow drawl to a grin and yank, and he caught it. What's your tip? Eyes sharp as he flashed his teeth, then sat back with folds of fat peeking and crawling through the narrowing slits of the sturdy double-wide wooden chair, supporting his generous wallet. I could simply not tip you. His jest half-hearted. That's okay, I smiled. It's always so awkward talking about money when it's absolutely unnecessary. Some might call it rude or ill-mannered. Don't you worry about him, says the woman. He's not paying anyway. She was kind enough, and I was thankful for her efforts to move us forward. I politely lolled and took that as an opening to take their drink and app order, then waddled away. Service progressed with somewhat polite conversation. So your dad is a college professor? He asked, his head down and shoulders hunched over his plate of Primavera. Well, he's an attorney, but he taught a few classes at a local private college. I start clearing dishes and trash. He violently snorts back a string of thin spaghetti. An attorney? What would a judge say if your dad said these ones while addressing the court? He appeared shocked yet proud, like he had just won something from me. What value does this supposedly enlightened man place on correcting a slight grammatical error, made 15 minutes ago by a woman making polite conversation while simply trying to do her job, to continue this far, and with that smug, greasy smile? He values the humiliation and display of power over someone he deems less than himself. The point wasn't to teach me anything or discuss English theory. The point was to humiliate me for his own narcissistic needs. He most certainly struggles with feelings of visceral inadequacy. My mother would call him a slug, but I think slugs are cute. Well, sir, my face was straight and professional, my chin up, and my black silk apron waving in the noble winds of justice. I honestly think that would depend on the context in which the phrase is being used, or whether or not the judge found it worth everyone's time to even discuss. He left it alone after that, perhaps sensing a smidgen of shame or self-awareness. Tipped me 20%, which was about $6. I made over $250 that night in less than 6 hours, and that scuzzball acted like he could break me. I'd charge a much higher rate if I was selling humiliation. 2. Being a server is stressful as fuck. That stress comes out in your shoulders, head, and even teeth. take a second check-in. Are you, like millions of others, clenching or grinding your teeth? Stress and bad posture cause you to grind your teeth. Stress triggers get the jaw going, maybe navigate a crowded area each day while trying to maintain social distancing. Or maybe worrying about a loved one you can't visit give you stomach pangs. Whatever triggers your stress, the result is often a tight jaw. Not only that, but your postures are all over the place now. While we transitioned to quarantine, many of us set up our makeshift home office at a dining room table or couch and have been there since. Poor ergonomics cause our bodies to compress and our heads to lean forward, causing strain in the head, neck, and back muscles. That strain translates into tighter jaw muscles, which we react to with clenching and grinding. So I clench my teeth a little bit. What's the big deal? Our teeth are pretty damn strong, right? Chewing exerts pressures of up to 40 pounds on the teeth. Impressive, but the muscles in our jaw can clench up to 250 pounds of force. That extra force wears down enamel, causes migraines, changes the structure of your face, and can lead to cracked teeth and gum recession. 5 tips to de-stress and keep your teeth happy. 1. Meditate or journal before bed. Having a stressful thought bouncing around your head when you drift off to sleep can lead you to grind your teeth. It can help to meditate and clear your mind before bed, or write down what's on your mind in a journal. Let those pages hold your thoughts so your mind is free to dream. 2. Identify your triggers. If you catch yourself grinding your teeth during the day, try to pinpoint the trigger. Is it when you're dealing with a difficult customer? When a guy at one of your tables is coughing uncontrollably? Once you identify the trigger, you can make yourself aware when the trigger happens, and then practice active jaw relaxing. Relax your jaw throughout the day. When your triggers come, take a moment and become aware of your mouth. Open your jaw a smidge and rest the tip of your tongue on the top of your front bottom teeth. Then slightly close your jaw until your top teeth touch your tongue. This activity helps your jaw muscles relax. 4. Ensure you have good posture during the day. Are your ears over your shoulders? When you work at a desk, is it just below your elbow height? Are your feet flat on the ground? Do you have your chin buried in your neck reading your phone during breaks? If so, take a second, realign. 5. Walk away from your work environment and work at least once per day. Try to get out for a walk and leave your phone at home, or at least keep it in your pocket so your neck and eyes get a break from the screen. Moving helps decompress your body, and the extra oxygen and looking out at a further horizon will decompress your mind. Plus, getting away from work is always helpful to keep everything in perspective. 3. Due to COVID-related server and bartender shortages, a local catering company contacted me through a friend to see if I could fill in for a person who called out the morning of a 130-person wedding with a full open bar. I was happy enough with the hourly rate and tip procedure and decided to do it. I disclosed that I have not been behind a bar since 2015, and also that I have a herniated disc in my back, so that as much as it will hurt my service industry heart not to do so, I am no help on heavy lifting, loading, and unloading. The last establishments where I was behind bars were craft cocktailish in nature, and when we did catered events, every detail was carefully selected and overseen by the private dining coordinators. This was naturally what I anticipated when arriving at this event. I was wrong. The 2 folks behind the bar with me were energetic and sweet, and thankfully, neither suffered any kind of physical malady. Not that they shared anyway, and were all too happy to help me stay supplied and supported. When I arrived, about 20 minutes after the event started, which they knew would be the case, literally every guest at this wedding was in line at the bar. I was surprised and mystified to see my high school theater teacher was the DJ. As I made my way behind the bar, I overheard him say to the wedding party, who were lining up, that they needed to wait to do the intros until the bar line died down. I was nervous, but I assessed the situation and jumped in. I loudly attempted to introduce myself as the missing bartender, which no one responded to or acknowledged in any way because they were deep in the weeds. Bartender 1 of 3 was making 3 gin and tonics at once and looked like she was about to cry. Bartender 2 of 3 was only making beer and wine, but would happily call out orders for mixed drinks that she refused to attempt to make. Bartender 3 of 3 was me. Hello. Moments after I arrived, bartender 1 of 3 began asking me questions about the event that I could not answer only moments after a food runner had frantically approached me with an armful of lamb racks, saying, "This is for the bride and the groom's table. Do you know where it is?" In both cases, all I could reply was, "I just got here, and I'm sorry, I have literally no idea." I knew there were 2 manager folks at the event, but I could locate neither, despite texting them when I arrived. We hung in there for 6 hours, and the younger of my 2 colleagues expressed interest in bartending, and I said, "Well, this is exactly how I became a bartender," which I did quite successfully for over 10 years, by working a few events and then demanding to be put on the regular schedule. She said that she was home from school and works as a server near school, but they won't give bar shifts to anybody who doesn't have experience. It gave me quite a thrill to be able to say, "Congrats, you now have experience, and a full open bar for 130 guests is no joke." Our little team found a good rhythm. We each brought home a little over $100 in cash, plus the hourly that we'll pick up from the office later this week. All that is to say, this catering company is one of the most sought after in the region, and having been to a number of their catered events in the past, pre-COVID era, I can say that the staff caliber has changed substantially. Not that this is the fault of the staff, this could easily be solved with a bit of training. I was comforted, well, sorta, to see that little has changed in the world of open bar weddings. Dads were taking shots with groomsmen, folks who obviously never drink took 5+ minutes to order a vodka soda, girls were crying, and everybody but me bitched about last call. The night could not have been complete without one person who I went to high school with recognizing me, thanks to the aforementioned theater teacher alerting her to my presence. This person and I never had much to say to each other, despite our mothers being friends. Also, conversation is not her strong suit, as evidenced by this fantastic interaction.
"Hi, it's so great to see you. Do you live here?"
Inwardly, I'm thinking, yes, bitch, I live here behind this bar with a fucking bottle of Smirnoff in my hand. Abso-fucking-lutely. No! Do you? I was told in an email in the overnight hours that one of that on-site managers reported that she only realized I arrived after she witnessed the crowd die down at the bar. That was so quick, she assumed that the guests had given up on waiting and decided to sit down. She was pleasantly surprised to discover that we'd actually gotten the entire group of people served within about 15 minutes of my arrival, which made me feel good. We were getting our butts kicked once we got the initial 1 to 3 rounds out. Everything calmed down and we did great. My body is super pissed off at me and I've been taking it pretty easy since, but I was told by several guests and several staff members that my presence saved the day, which oddly is what I said to my hubby when he said, "WTF, do you want to do this?" Upon telling him about my prospective gig, I said, "You've been to weddings when all we did was wait for drinks and it's awful. I can stop that from happening for this couple and I want to. I'm in no way ready to go back to this with any kind of frequency, but it was sort of fun and oddly liberating to know that I've still got it, as it were. It also made me super grateful that I no longer do this regularly." That last point, though, is a read on the industry as a whole. COVID taught us that a lot of things were possible that we've all been told forever are impossible, including higher hourly wages for hospitality employees, increased access to healthcare, and financial protections to make sure that the employees can still live if their tips are too low for a given shift or week. This only scratches the surface of what we should be doing for our friends working in bars and restaurants, hotels, including those who do delivery and curbside. We're frontline workers too, and as evidenced by how happy this crowd was just to be together this weekend. We are an essential service, and it's our time employers treat it as such. I made a great living doing this kind of work for a very long portion of my life, and it shouldn't be dangerous to your health to do so, and it is, physically and mentally. Soapbox moments. The staff safety measures with this company and venue were non-existent. No anti-slip mats behind the bars, I don't know about the kitchen, no hand-washing, eye-washing stations, No OSHA postings, no measuring tools behind the bar, no carting procedure, no alcohol cutoff procedure, all of which leads to over-serving. I will openly admit to a lack of knowledge in the catering company and wedding venue space regarding who is responsible for these items, if the entity staffing the space and the entity who runs the space are not the same. That said, my hunch is that what I witnessed is pretty standard. Because it was the venue's liquor license that allows for the operation, if I were the venue, I would have these materials in place. To my friends in catering, if you don't already, look for that stuff, ask for that stuff. Anti-slip mats at all. Ask what happens if someone gets injured on the property. Obviously you hope none of that information is necessary, but you need to have it ready. Thanks Hospitality Fam for welcoming me back so warmly for this shift. Hope we get to do it again sometime, but not too soon. 4. Last night, my manager on duty gets a call saying there's going to be a party of 18 coming in within around 9 p.m. We close at 10. Fast forward 15 minutes and a legitimate party bus of 16, 11 to 13-year-olds, and 4 adults, show up as the party to the dismay of front of and back of house. I end up taking the party. The main mother of the party was super nice and made sure the kids weren't too ridiculous to me, with food by coming with me to every table. Tables are only for 6 because COVID, and made them order immediately. Fast forward to everybody eating, and a few of the kids decide to playfully trash-talk me as 12-year-old boys do. One of them jokingly yells out my name wrong to see what I would do. I turn to the kid and tell him my name is Joe, to which he returns, "Joe?" and I scream, "Joe Mama!" right at him, and the rest of the boys he's sitting with are howling at him, that I roasted him, and I get a good laugh out of everything. I go back to the table about 10 minutes later, and this same kid keeps yelling different names at me until I tell him, "Bruh, I told you my name is Joe. What you need?" And he goes,
Hey Joe, how old's your mom?
to which I give an actual answer of 57, and he says my mom is old. We all lolled. However, I ask him about his mom, and he goes,
Mine is 28.
So I tell him, wait a second, your mom has the good hair and works nights, right? And he goes,
Yeah?
I told him, how could I ever forget? She was at my place last night. I just always forget her name. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that the table of adults kitty-corner to them started howling in laughter. The kid started giving me the death stare for a minute while his friends were screaming until he joined in laughing as well. Definitely was one of the best experiences I've had with any table. My table sarcasm usually only goes to carding grandmas and telling them they're using a fake ID, or jokingly trashing my table's choice of food. I seldom get to trash talk kids. I tried getting my manager on duty to put the interaction in the shift report, but she didn't. 5. Hi, just your friendly neighborhood bartender here, working at a casual upscale dining place in a hotel. Now maybe it's the full moon, or the first vacation weekend since the beginning of COVID, but people have just been nasty. Not all, I will admit. I have great connections with people given the time and opportunity, but there are those who just stand out and manage to drag your whole shift into the ground. Now to preface, I should have known by the reservation list the day would be intense. If not also for my manager telling me to prepare for a hell of a night, having worked a 120 cover night on a 3-person front of house team the night prior. So we get started. I'm double stocked, double prepped, and triple caffeinated. Get off to a great start. Everyone is chilling and vibing. It was a massive cocktail night, you know the ones. Every cocktail on the menu, but no same 2 drinks on a ticket. So as both service bar and serving bar tops, I get weeded. I focus on pushing drinks, and manager jumps in behind to take orders. We get back into emotion until one of the managers leaves just as we surmounted our peak. Down a body, and still with a full second seating, maybe third, who knows. Both servers are weeded in 10 table sections or 13 split checks. As people continue to shove past our new host, and a giant "please wait to be seated" sign. Kitchen is at a 45-minute backup, so second manager makes call of no more walk-ins. From 9 p.m. on, reservations only. To-go's halted, bar included. People lose their minds. How dare we draw a line? With every table either occupied or dirty, and I'm struggling to get proper glassware through a dish to serve the drinks still coming through on service as well. Quite literally running back multiple times to get glasses for water, and people are coming into the bar and trying to order, and I'm having to explain to them that no, I can't just make your martini. I have 4 tickets of drinks waiting 5 to 10 minutes already. That I can't catch up on because the new host is getting weeded and harassed by guests at the door wondering why they can't walk in and sit at my clearly unbussed and overwhelmed bar. That at capacity for the night is exactly what it sounds like regardless of what you think it looks like. I literally could not give you the proper service and still be able to execute everything we are currently servicing for everyone who made a reservation and is currently seated. This all culminated for me when 2 walk in to seat at the bar. I apologize and say we are overbooked for the night and can no longer accept walk-ins. They argue it's just a drink, we're sitting at the bar. I explain that we are overbooked and they press more. Here's where I slip and I get stressed. I tell him that I'm so busy I literally don't have any glassware I can serve him with right now, i.e. out of pints, water, rocks, and martini. Well, he goes to complain to the hotel, affiliated but not employed by them, who proceeded to call us for our story, and says he's pissed and I push off to my manager. We're literally human, and this past Saturday just showed me how little regard people have to us at times. I'm sorry you walked right past the "please wait to be seated" sign. I'm also sorry that you decided to put us both in that position where I have to say no. That's not the kind of person I like to be. And if I could have taken you on and given you the service that I strive to give all my guests, I would have. Who's going to turn down money? I'm already here, aren't I? But I couldn't. And you couldn't accept that. No, you argued, you got me flustered, and I had to be honest. If you had been even the least bit understanding, it would have shifted my whole night. Because somebody understood that I am just a person, and I am doing my best. Anyway, happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 139. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you liked the video, then please do boop the like button and leave a comment. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Right, where are we? This is Saturday. That means Spoopy Saturday tonight when streaming time starts. This video I think I'm putting up earlier today than usual. Every now and again, always pays to check the optimal upload times. So I've looked into it in regular times from Monday to Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, couple hours earlier. And I think Saturday, Sunday is usually, let's see, for me that'd be about 2 or 3 p.m. So I'm not sure what the equivalent time is for you folks. But yeah, we'll play. I like to play about every now and again. Depends on the time of year really as well. So earlier today. And tonight, spoopy times because there's a new Phasmophobia update. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.